are watching the Blueprint Radio Show with DJ Miss Hennessy.
Nothing better than interviewing somebody that you not only respect, that you've worked with many times, that you've known, you've actually kind of grown with them a little bit, if we can say that, but that I just love like a brother, and I just am always amazed at the work that he does, and everything that he sort of touches turns to gold. He may have a different response to that, but I don't care. That's how I see him. Welcome to the show, my brother Sam Daoud. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. Thank you for your
Anytime.
kind words too.
Anytime. So this is kind of like a take two for us, because we did try to like connect with this particular interview, but it was back like when the winds in Sydney were wild and woolly and they like to mess with the internet. And I guess when you live in the hood, you know what I'm saying, you gotta hope and pray that connections don't get cut off. But
We just got 5G out here, man. We just
we live in the dream, honey. We live in the dream. So welcome to the show, man. How you doing? I mean, I know how you doing, but tell the people how you've been doing. You've been busy.
doing really well, Mike. This is like night and day chalk and cheese. I mean, if you had spoken to me 7, 8 months ago,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been such a rosy outcome. But I mean, right now, I'd say the last 6 months have been crazy. Just everything's happening. We are back officially. Live shows every day. There's American artists flying in. There's shows happening. Concerts are back. Nightclubs are back. We're allowed to drink. We're allowed to dance. We're allowed to do all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And it just seems like everyone's doing shows now. It's like so much.
Yeah.
It's really good. So, such a good time for the industry,
Yeah.
especially after what we just went through. So, no,
Absolutely.
everything is good. Thank God. Thank
Oh
God.
man, I'm so happy to hear that, because I know you and I talk a lot. We're constantly in communication with each other, whether it's, promoting a show or talking about, what's next with your incredible brand, your incredible business, Get Busy. Um, you stand by your brand. You do as your brand says. You get busy and you stay busy. And even when things were looking really dark and dismal for a lot of us in the entertainment industry here with lockdown and COVID, you really tried to maintain that get busy mentality and that hustle. But that
Oh,
was a
definitely.
challenge for you, and you've just touched on that now, saying had we tried to connect about 8 months ago, it would have been a different
Yeah,
Sam we would have been talking to. You've
definitely.
gone through a lot in the last couple of years. There's obviously been a lot of personal, turmoil as well, which so many of us have also gone through as well.
Definitely.
And if I can say this, much respect and blessings to your family and to your amazing dad who was passed on. And I know that was a real challenge for you too.
Thank you, man.
And
Thank you. It
like,
means a lot, man. Thank you.
oh, absolutely, man. I felt and I walked with you every step of the way with that, having lost my dad too. And it's really challenging when you lose the patriarch of a family. And
Definitely.
um,
And
you
I
know,
remember reaching out to you because I was kind of a bit lost. And I know that you just recently went through something like that yourself. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
reached out to my sister and I was like, Max, what's
yeah.
going on?
I
Yeah,
know,
that's
man.
good.
And I was so honored that you did that, because I learned a little bit about you with that process, because we've become family through the industry that brought us together, right? And it's always, people tend to keep their relationships so separate. It's business, and then but I'm friends outside of it, and I'm so blessed to be able to call you a friend outside of this crazy game of hip hop that.
Thank you, Max. I feel like I found a kindred spirit with you. So we're both very similar.
Yeah,
Like we both are in the game because we love the music, first and foremost. That's basically it. And then secondly, the hustle. The
yeah,
hustle, the stuff that I've heard and seen you do, and the stuff that you've heard and seen me do, like we kind of mirror each other. I mean, even though you're in the journalism world and I'm in
yeah,
the promotions game, and obviously with your radio shows and stuff, but we're very similar in just the guerrilla style tactics that we
oh, I
employ.
like that.
The by any means necessary kind of.
Yeah.
So I feel I don't know. I just feel like me and you connected through that, and we're very similar, me and you. So
1,000%, man. Thank you. That I take that. That's a great compliment because, like I said, I've watched you grow this incredible brand of yours from, a little pea size to this massive, we're talking peas. Where do you put peas in risotto? A big, beautiful bowling, so steaming bowl of risotto, never ending, right? You feed the masses with, incredible shows and it's not just promotion that you do with Get Busy. You've been an artist manager for years. You've toured a great many artists yourself, and even sort of working with some of our incredible DJs here in Australia and aligning yourself with people and with artists that um, mean something to you. And I
yeah,
think that's the point of difference with you, Sam, and with Get Busy is you don't you're intentional about what you do, if I can say that, and who you work with, right?
I've been. Look, I don't believe in luck. I mean, a lot of people out there do. It's blessings for me. So I feel very blessed to have worked with the artists that I've worked with
Mm.
and the caliber of artists. And I gravitate towards artists that I really dig. So if I dig someone, I seek them out. So that goes with
That's like I
management.
do.
Yeah, and man, blessed beyond belief. I've worked with some of the biggest artists in the world. Um, Locally, I've been able to work with some really, really cool cats.
Mm.
I mean, I just, I don't know what to say. I just feel, I feel honored that these people allow me to
Yeah,
have just the slightest input into their careers.
yeah.
But beyond that, I'm just, man, I'm really happy. Sometimes I look back at the shit I've done and I'm like, man, I grew up listening to these people and I'm working with it. Like
The trip.
a friend of mine from school was saying, man, you remember we used to go to school and listen to that shit on the Walkman and at the bus stop and try and learn the words to the
Yeah.
song, and then all these years later to end up working with some of my heroes is just, I mean, it's
I love how you put that because, and also artists that you seek out. I think I tend to look at the interview process for me. I mean, I've always been somewhat of a storyteller within our hip hop community, and I love, learning about people's journeys, about how they started to where they are. I'm in awe of so many people, including yourself, how you've been able to create these incredible, brands. But you've just said it so simply. It's seeking out the people that you dig, and when you get the interview or you get you get the show, that reward, that deliverable is sometimes um you can't put words to it. I think sometimes it can leave you quite speechless. um
definitely.
some of the artists you've worked with, it isn't as easy as it sounds though.
It
So
isn't as easy as it sounds. I think people seem to think I live like this one big party.
they do.
People say
And
that.
I do too sometimes.
No, it's a lot of hard work. I get that work ethic from my parents.
Yeah.
Both my parents had 3 full-time jobs. I know people are like, oh, you know, my friend has 3 jobs. No, 3 full-time jobs at the same time. So very, very hardworking people. They instill that into me. And then when you couple it with the fact that I found my passion at such a young age, I don't even look at it as work. So I got that, you know what I mean? It's the double-edged sword for me. Like, yeah, it's hard work, a lot of crazy hours, but I don't look at it as, I got to get up. When that alarm clock goes off, I'm up and into it, man. I can't wait. Every day has its challenges. And like you said before, what I do is not easy. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. But yeah,
Everyone tries to do it though.
well, people try to do it that have no business trying to do it.
I was waiting for that response.
Actually,
They
no.
try. They really did try. And I think they'd probably be trying a lot more since lockdown. Yeah.
Oh
How
man,
how
look,
has
I
it
gotta I
been?
gotta give a shout out to my OG, my mentor, Michael Chugg, who I've known since I was a kid. This
Mm.
guy has been just the best mentor to me, and always is there for me and gives me advice. And I've been trying to do stuff with him for years, and he won't touch R&B hip hop just because it's
Really?
such a shit show. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's
Yeah.
such a shit show. How many R&B hip hop shows are advertised and never delivered? Like he sticks to you know, he does the biggest acts in the world. Why would you want to get involved in a scene that's
It's such a shame that it's
a shame, because
been
if he came
tainted,
to the
man.
party, man, it that's all she wrote. It'd be a rap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen, unfortunately, we get people that I think that saying "fake it till you make it" has really, you know, struck a chord with people. So we got a lot of people that are doing stuff that really have no business. Look, it's not that hard. I mean, it's difficult, but if you just, you know, carry it through, just do
Yeah.
what you say what you do your research,
Yeah.
and just follow up, and just, you know, I mean, but yeah, there are some people trying to do shows that really have no idea about how to pull it off, and they end up fucking it up, and then
Yes.
that has a knock-on effect, and it affects every promoter that tries to sell tickets to their shows.
And you know what? I remember when you and I, you know, sort of started to collaborate a little bit more on, you know, promoting on my radio show back in the day, and I'd come to the club that you were, you know, which we'll touch on and talk about soon, that you were running, and one of the biggest club nights in, you know, Sydney for a long time. You know, I'd sort of, you know, reach out to you, do a photo shoot and stuff like that. We would just collaborate on a couple of things, and
You're talking about gas.
we are talking about gas, and we're
Man, no
going
one
to,
remembers gas. Gas. You're talking about ancient history now.
it's ancient history, but you know what? It's ancient history, but it is an integral part of who you are and what you've created
It
and
was a very
the
fun time,
legacy.
Max. For anyone that was there, it was a very, very fun time. That was one of
Seriously,
those special moments. Yeah.
special moments, man, but it also left that indelible mark on the Sydney, you know, hip hop club scene, because the clubs are different now, right? And I don't mean to sound ageist. I mean, we're different ages now. You know, I there's so many new clubs, and I guess ever since, you know, obviously now with the new resurgence of, you know, travel back into the city, and that revamping of Sydney, because Sydney needs a revamp majorly.
Definitely.
Um, you know, new clubs are opening up, new, you know, sort of popping up, and it's a different time, it's a different
It's a
vibe.
different part, but look, a lot of people say, look, the good old days, and you know, it wasn't. It's not like it used to be, and all that kind of
It's
stuff. But
never
you know
gonna
what?
be though.
If you're 18 or 21 now, there's a scene out there. Do you know what I mean? It's just different for us because we came up in a different
Yeah,
time, a different era. But
yeah,
there's nothing wrong with the scene now. It's definitely different to what we went through. But man, I know that they're out there having fun like every weekend in droves.
yeah. No, you can see, or social media captures all of that. We didn't have that back then, thank goodness, because I
Thank
don't
God.
know
Oh my God.
if we would be as chipper about
Never.
things. I know 3D Magazine, again, throwback. They tried with their photos every week, but the photos you got to develop, wait for the film. Sometimes the film didn't work properly, thank God. But you know, now it's instantaneous. I don't know if I could live that down. So I'm very grateful social media wasn't around then. But how has social media changed the promotion game? I mean, this
Yeah,
is right.
totally. So basically, I mean, we used to go out and do a full scale poster campaign,
Yeah.
call it glue ups, where we just go out and attack the city. And I'm talking every suburb, every train station, thousands of posters with a bucket, and you know, just go up there.
Wrapping around.
We used to make the glue. We used to make the glue ourselves.
What?
And yeah, we used to make the glue with
Stop it.
flour and water, and that shit does not come off. It's like cement.
On the street while you were, or did you
No, no,
make
no.
it on?
We pre-make it in buckets. We make it like, and we have like 5 or 6 buckets in the back of a van, and we
Yo,
get out because it was totally like illegal and shit. We used to get out
yeah.
and just 3 or 4 of us run to each side of the intersection, put it up, and you have this big like broom, and you dip it in the bucket, and you just put it up, and then you get in the car and take off. But yeah,
Oh, wow.
posters, poll posters, flyers. You talk about shit from the past now. None of that is around.
Like a
Everything,
manual job, manual labor. Like
yeah,
it's,
everything now is. I mean, people still do a lot of
yeah.
outdoor advertising with the big posters and stuff, but you see less and less of the poll posters. Flyers I see very rarely now. Everything is Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. It's just
Mm.
everything is digital now, and it's streamlined, and it's quicker. At the click of a button, you can just hit thousands and thousands of people,
Yeah.
get your message out there, and it goes to their pockets, which is amazing. So I can announce a tour at 9 a.m. and by 9:05, you know, thousands and thousands of people pick up their phone and get a little notification, and it's like the word is out there. So it's kind of cool though. I wish it was like this years ago, because it's really, really cool. I love seeing the way that technology has taken it, and yeah, it's really cool, Max. But
That's
yeah,
dope.
it's totally changed.
I'm glad it wasn't like that though all those years ago, because I think the hard work and the effort and that work ethic and that consistency that you put in all those years ago, and with all of the different club nights and you know amazing artists that you would put on at these club nights, again we mentioned Gas. How many times did we not see Naughty by Nature come when they were in Sydney and perform at Gas, or the Outlaws, or you name it. When that club was around, you would pretty much hosting some of the cream of the crop and hip hop, talent back then. And that came from no social media, but just that hard work, homemade glue vibe, right? And I hope, and people spruiking. So that word of mouth thing was massive. So when you look at the Get Busy brand, and yeah, you've kind of gone through some logo changes, but you've always kept it simple
Yeah.
and to the point. And I think that says a lot about your style and the way in which you've grown this incredible brand of yours. Was there ever a point where you sort of looked at it and went, you know what, I think I'm going to chill with the promotion right now, and I'm just going to try a little something new? I know maybe a bit of artist management, or was promotion always just being that fuel to get busy?
It's weird the way it kind of, nothing that I've done. This sounds so crazy. Nothing that I've done has been super planned. It just kind of evolved. So I'll give an example. I became a promoter before I even knew what a promoter was, and that is in my neighborhood. I grew up on the north side of Sydney, and there was nothing to do for us as kids. There was blue light discos, and I mean, I've told this story a couple of times, but when you're a kid and you're like 15, 16, the last thing you want to do is hang out with a bunch of cops. It's like the last, especially if you were, my friends that, yeah. So I don't know. I just saw a need that there was definitely something to be said for just throwing a dam where all my friends could go party. I approached a local pub and just said, look, I could do a party here, alcohol free, no alcohol, just soft drinks and stuff. And I had homemade flyers. I remember my mate drew the flyers, we photocopied them. And then I went around to all the schools in the neighborhood. And when the bell rang and they went to the buses, me and my friends were handing out flyers. And we just did that. And then, yeah, I was 16 at the time. I remember we got 700 people to the first party.
What?
And the vibe that I got, the feeling that I got, just people coming up to me from all these different schools. And they were like, this is the best. You should do this again. And someone was like, man, you should do this for a living. And I was like, what are you talking about? You can't throw parties for a living. So like I said, I became a promoter before I even knew what that was.
Wow.
And continued with it. I did a bunch of under 18s for, I reckon, a good 10 years. I was doing under 18s.
Yeah.
Then I reckon 2 years after I started, yeah. So I was 16 when I started the under 18s. And the week that I turned 18, I approached a real club and wanted to do something. And yeah, they gave it to me, which, come on, I didn't know what I was doing. And yeah, the week I turned 18, I started doing nightclubs. And
well, you winged it pretty well if you didn't know what you were doing.
Man, I was just, you know what it was? I was just talking my way into places I shouldn't have been, and just, it was crazy, man. It really was. So look, the club thing kind of evolved. I did, under 18s, then I did the overage stuff. Then 10 years after that, I started to get into management. And that was just a kind of, again, it wasn't a plan. It just, I saw a need. There was a lot of really good artists in Sydney that had no representation, really talented people that were just getting fucked over.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I know this side of the business. I could help them. Do you know what I mean? So, and then I did management for I don't know how many years, and then started bookings. And again, fell into that. I was working somewhere and someone said, the artist who you all guys, I mean, you guys know as Savage,
Mm.
was looking to book a couple of an Australian tour actually for his album. And I was like, yeah, I could do that because I had a national network from doing the club stuff.
And that's it. You had that foundation,
I
so
had the
why not
foundation.
utilize
Obviously, like when I was running my clubs, if I had an artist and I wanted to sell him to Melbourne or Brisbane or Adelaide or Perth or whatever, I knew who in those cities were the movers and shakers. So because I had that natural network, when it came time to booking shows, like in terms of now I'm the booking agent, I'm no longer the promoter. It just came really naturally. But Max, I have like a really good 360 view of the industry because I'm a artist manager, because I'm a promoter, because I'm a booking agent. When I'm dealing with a booking agent as a promoter, or I'm
Yes.
dealing with it, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
I can see it from their perspective.
It's like a trifecta, really, in a
Yeah,
way.
I totally see, like, let's say I got my promoter hat on and I'm
Mm.
trying to book somebody and they're trying to sell me an artist, or I'm trying to buy an artist. I do what you do, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the artist management side, I can, when they're representing their artists as the promoter or as the booking agent. So I have a really unique, I don't know that there's too many people that has that kind of a view.
I was just going to say that because I know that obviously with the job that you do, it never really stops because your
No.
phone and your phone will be going off all the time, your emails all the time. People
Well,
are all
it stopped for a couple of years.
a few years, and I know that right now you won't let no call go unchecked. So
But
just
see, this is the virus that we will not name. We will not say the word. It's the C word. We'll not say it. But yeah,
that's
it
no,
was a couple of years. It was a couple of years. It was a bit quiet. I'm not gonna lie.
I feel you. I feel you. And listen, it's one of those things. It is what it is, and you'd rather it be ringing than not.
Yeah.
But yeah, to have that kind of that sort of, like I said, that whole sort of trifecta type of outlook on the job that you do, your hats would be constantly changing with whatever that phone call is. And I guess then my next question would be, how do you how do you switch off if you ever do? Because at some point, regardless of what it is we do in this industry, there's a point in time where it gets a lot, and you need to step back just to have a bit of a breather. And I can imagine touring,
No,
as exciting as it is, would take so much out of you. And
I
you've
look.
been touring a
It's
lot.
exhausting, but Max, I like to make this point that I'm incredibly blessed
Yeah.
to have found my passion at 16 and managed to turn it into a career. Don't ask me how I've done that, but so when it comes to time off and stressed out and all that stuff, I actually look at the work as, oh man, this is going to sound stupid. It's like a vacation. Do you know what I mean? It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of crazy hours. But, you know, when let's say I'm a booking agent, sometimes I double up on that and I go on the road as the tour manager. So I actually go to all the shows. So, I mean, you want to talk vacation?
Yeah.
I've been paid to go to some of the most tropical destinations in the world with some of my artists. So yeah, I don't look at it like, oh, this is so draining and I need time to unwind. I look at it like I'm lucky to do this. I've been fortunate enough to have these amazing experiences and yeah, I mean, when I do take time off away from everything, yeah, it's
It's
rare.
very rare. It's
It's
very rare.
rare.
You're always on.
It's rare just because you can't I don't know. Let's say I wanted to go away for 6 months. I'd come back, everything would be changed.
1,000%. You got to keep that finger on the
It
pulse.
moves so quickly. And
Yeah.
another thing, when you represent artists, no one's going to wait around for you. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Or yeah. So you kind of got to keep your head in the game. But like I said, man, this is really like, oh man, I've been to Alaska. I've been to Papua New Guinea. I've been to just you wouldn't believe it. I'm really, really fortunate.
Yeah. No, and then you know what? I love the way I love the perspective you have on it, right? And the fact that you always sort of operate from that point of the grateful intent, right? Because I think that's what people who patronize your shows, or support your artists, they feel that it's like a transferal of energy type of thing. So whenever you announce that you're touring someone, there's always excitement in the air, right? Because you release it with so much excitement, because we know it's a passion
Max, I'm
project.
excited to look. I'll give you an example. Like I feel fortunate, and I feel blessed, and I feel humbled when someone like Fady, asked me to be his tour manager, and we end up in Poland, like we did a show in Warsaw.
Yeah.
Come on, man! I'm from Western Sydney. It's like I went to in Poland, and then we did a show in London, or with Savage we went to Alaska. We did shows in Vegas. Like, it's just, how can you not just look
I know.
and just pinch yourself and go, I mean, I was hanging out with Eskimos. You know what I mean? Like, this is some cool shit.
No, I feel you.
No, you look. If you ever lose that, if you're ever in the game and it's strictly for other reasons, you just get out. You know what I mean? If you lose that sense of wonderment, and if you stop looking at it like that, I think you're in it for the wrong reasons. People will see straight through that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was just about to say, like, you're a people person. You enjoy conversation, being silly, laughing, having a good time. It's also business, but you've been able to kind of marry the two together really well, and do both really well. But I have to ask, I mean, come on, there's have to have been some times that you've gone, I don't know why the hell I'm involved in this shit, and this person's not very friendly, and I'm stuck on the road with them.
I had a situation recently. Oh man, I can't say names. And
we don't need to say names, but maybe
if I mention the direct situation, I think everyone will guess who it was. But it was a situation where I organized a really big interview.
Yeah.
And the interview was going to be seen nationally. I won't say in what space, but 5 minutes before the interview started, the artist announced that he wasn't going to mention the show.
Holy crap.
He wasn't going to talk about the show.
The reason why he's there, he wasn't going to.
The whole reason for the interview was to promote the show, to sell tickets. And he's like, no, I'm not talking about the show. And I couldn't change his mind. Or her mind, sorry.
So it was literally on air that.
5 minutes. Before. 5 minutes before. 5 minutes before he's like, I'm not talking about it. So I'm standing there with a publicist. She's organized this, and it's a huge win for us to get a hip hop artist in this, being seen by millions and millions of people. So shit like that, that was a bad day where I'm just like, why do I do this? Why do I keep
I was just gonna say, do you sit there and go, I ain't tired of this shit, I'm out? Like, why am I here? How do you even?
Or I'll give you another one. There was an artist that made me change his hotel room 4 times. We went to 4 different hotels.
Because?
There was a problem with each hotel.
Oh my God.
And it wasn't just one artist. He was within, I think he was traveling with about 8 people.
Oh my God.
So the initial hotel that we had booked, there was an issue with it. And then the second hotel that we took, it was just that. I'll say that day I hated my job. I think I could look back and go, I didn't like being a promoter at all.
Yeah.
I was ready to,
So how did you eventually negotiate an agreement? How did you arrive at some place that was...
out of frustration, I sent the tour manager out. He's the international tour manager, and I said, look, just find something that he'll be happy with, and just lock it in, man, because I'm at a loss. As far as my eyes, there's absolutely nothing wrong with any of these places, but
But you know what? That's that. You kind of you take what's that saying? You get what you get. You don't get upset type of vibe, right? And you've gone from your point of view and always working from a place of gratitude and excitement. And man, I'm so grateful to do this. And then you're dealing with artists that are in a position to be of even more gratitude because they're the artists and they come across with that.
I will drop a hint to that last one. This hip hop group, it was one member of this group, is notorious for being the most hard to work with hip hop group of all time. And they're notorious for it. Everybody knows that if you're gonna work with any member of this group, you're in for a real fucking a
Oh,
problem.
no way.
So that
So
might.
probably internationally too, they've given themselves probably.
Oh no, it doesn't matter. Yeah, Australia's just one, but no matter what country they're in, there's an issue. And if it's not with the accommodation, it's with the venue or the transport or the something. There's a problem. You know what I mean?
I can only imagine, and we don't need to go in detail, but I can only imagine because I'm someone, you sort of sit and you'd watch people, right? I enjoy people watching. I can only imagine the shit you've seen backstage, on the road, on the
Oh, yeah.
side of the stage, in front of your ass. Like I can just imagine. And do you sit there sometimes going, "Oh, if I had to write a book."
No, well, that's a thing. You know the old saying, "What's that? What happens on the road stays on the road." No,
That's it. Yeah.
you do not write a book. There's
No,
another
you
saying:
couldn't. Oh,
"Snitches get stitches."
that's yes.
No,
It
no.
happens. Yep, in prison and in commercial.
I ain't writing a book. I ain't doing a podcast. The stories that I have will
Yeah, I can
stay
imagine.
with me and me alone.
But that's why it works with you, because you just, again, you approach your job with just the excitement, and these what it is, and that's the joy. I mean, that's just the joy of hip hop, I think. And you're either built for it or you're not. And I think for the longest time, it's always been so cool just to like watch your shows come to light, right? Like from the beginning to that last song of the artist on the night, and to kind of see everything come together. But behind the scenes, like you've just explained, some moments of sort of difficulty. It's again, it's not easy to put a live show together because so many things can go wrong, and
I'll
you're
tell you what,
here
Max.
getting into it.
Sorry to interrupt you. You know
No.
that saying, not the saying, the song, New York, New York, they say, if I can make it there, I can make it anywhere.
Yeah.
I feel that way about hip hop. And in the way that if I can promote hip hop shows for as many years as I have, I could go to any other genre and just breeze through, because I feel like hip hop is so just the scene, the stuff that I have to go through on a daily basis. It's ruthless, it's cutthroat, it's, you know what I mean? I feel like, that if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah, I get you.
Hip hop is its own animal. You know what I mean?
The training ground that we've had within hip hop, regardless of whether we've started here or wherever. It's very true. It's like it's a take no prisoners kind of genre, man. Like
It
it's
really is.
just.
And I've worked with artists in other genres, and I'm just amazed at it's just totally, it's
Yeah,
totally different. It's totally, totally different.
it is, but it's just something about it though. It kind of keeps us there. No matter how much we sort of go and experience other genres, we always come back. You always come back to hip.
Oh, it's a way of life. Like it's not, I couldn't imagine doing anything else. I really couldn't. I mean, I tried to do other genres, one-offs here and there, but you always come back to your first love.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, can we talk about some of your upcoming shows? I'd love to have that in the chat. You announced a couple of weeks ago that you're touring DJ Quick, and for people who don't know who Quick is, I mean, this man is an absolute legend. We're a West Coast DJ, but incredible, vanguard of West Coast hip hop, and he's been to Australia.
One of the stellest producers of all time.
Amazing. I mean, literally just one of the most stellar producers ever.
Tickets at metrotheatre.com.au. Shameless plug. There we go.
No, this is what we're doing, man. We're plugging it out. But Quick is a brilliant man, and but he's also really he sort of keeps himself. He's that kind of artist. He's not rah-rah, even though he's been involved in some of the most pivotal points of hip hop. He's all about the craft, man. So how is that? How did that tour come about? Was that something that was been in the making for a while?
It's incredible. And like I said, this is one of those moments where I can say I'm working with someone finally that, man, Quick was in my Walkman, definitely. Like that, legendary, those beats, the talk box, the samples that he used. Just, man. I'm
Incredible
excited.
stuff.
No, this is good. This is gonna be a dope show.
I'm so excited for you. Now, again, I just want to touch on and just give you some flowers as well for um, uh, being able to tour an incredible artist just recently. So much respect for this man and his contribution to hip hop and what he's done. To see you posting some incredible, not only footage but just the photos of the incredible Scribe, touring with Scribe. I mean, my heart just sang when I saw that, and yeah, it was just, that was amazing for somebody who's a fan and has so much respect for the both of you. Can I ask what that was like for you to be able to
It
tour
was
with?
very special to be working with him again after so many years. I mean, everybody knows he's had his demons; they've been highly publicized, but he's working through them. The fact that he came out and delivered an incredible, I mean, anyone that was there would tell you it was one of the best performances of the day, and I'm so glad he's back. He's one of the most talented people I've ever worked with, hands down. I remember we were on our way to a show somewhere back in the day, and he was just writing, he was just scribbling, in a notepad, and then we landed, and he had basically written a whole song from like Sydney to Melbourne. The flight is an hour long. He wrote a whole, and it was the lyrics were just, it wasn't just it was a song, a fully fleshed out artwork that I was blessed enough to watch him do. So after that experience, I'll say talent wise, unequaled in
Yeah.
definitely this part of the world. So no, just really happy he's back and he's doing his thing, and he's, I mean, it's not over. It's a work in progress, but
Absolutely.
definitely it was a really special moment. Everybody that was there felt the history of the moment. He hadn't done a festival performance in Australia for 8 years.
Yeah.
And then he came and just smashed it. I gotta say something here. Scribe is not the kind of guy you want to see in a nightclub. I mean, and it's nice.
No.
No,
Oh,
it's nice, but he's a festival act.
1,000%.
100%.
He deserves the big sound, the big stage,
100%.
the big crowd. That's him. That's who he is, and nothing
I've
less.
seen it. I've seen it numerous times now where to really get a sense of him in full flight, you got to see him in front of 20,000 people.
Yeah, I would agree. But again, like I said, I just, when I saw that, I was like, man, this is history in the making here, and it was great to see, you know, the connection again with the two of you. I remember when I first met him. That was way back in the piece. I think I was one of the first people he spoke to here in Australia for again for 3D magazine all those years ago. And when you're in the room with greatness, right?
Oh,
He was so young, and he was like, oh, I was saying all that to him. He's like, oh, sis, don't say that. I was like, I'm gonna tell you, like, this is, yeah, I'm never gonna forget this moment, and it's gonna be something that I will
and
always
you know
think.
what? I got to say this, Max. I don't blame him for going down a rocky road. When you're that young and that successful and that rich,
And
it's
quickly.
hard, and that quick. It's hard to navigate. I got to give a shout out to my brother Savage.
Oh
Uh,
yes,
I'd never have worked with Scribe if it wasn't for Sav. So
major love for that man.
that's my
Again,
bro.
um,
And another thing, Max, to go back to our point where, you know, if I dig someone, you know, I go and find them. So the fact that two of my clients were like, in my opinion, the two biggest artists to ever come out of New Zealand, Savage and Scribe. The fact that I represented them both, I'm really proud of that. You know what I mean? And we did some really, really good work together. And I just feel like that whole, look, anyone that was at Promised Land, you saw it. I don't need to say it. You saw with your own eyes. He came out. He delivered like he never left, and it was just palpable. It was really, really special to be part.
I'm so jealous. I wish I was able to have been there, but you know what? I felt it through the images that were on social and seeing that. It was just, it's a good feeling, and it's like for me, it's always like I can't wait to hear more and to see more on his time. because there's a lot of us that truly miss him, and just always been behind
And
him.
his music has such a big impact.
Oh,
Like his fans, I've been there when people have said, that song "Dreaming" changed my life or saved my life. You know what I mean? So yeah,
absolutely. I
and his
remember
fans. Yeah.
I remember too with, I think, when not many dropped. I was dating my husband at the time. So Jay and I were just dating, and he was like, "Yo, what's new? What's hot? In hip hop down there." And we came across in one of his visits over. He came across that track, and he took it back. And I remember he played it for a couple of his mates on the ship, and they're like, "Yo, what's this?" He's like, "Man, this is New Zealand hip hop, man. Check this out." A bit of a New Zealand Australian thing. They were like, "Yo, we've never heard. Like, this is," and to this day, that's one of his favorite singles. He's just, even just like the rap style, his flow, just the
Oh,
music,
listen,
everything about
when he dropped the Crusader, it was like our version of Illmatic.
it.
Like he changed the
Yeah, yes,
game. It changed the game.
yeah, he did.
We'd never heard anything like that from this part of the world. So
Yeah. No, well, listen, flowers to you both, man. I'm very excited to see what happens next. So that was great to see. Um, segue now, obviously, with the state of hip hop as it is at the moment. There's a lot of shit going on, right? I don't know if you get into the blogs and the gossip and the like reading up of stuff like that, but there's a lot going on at the moment. Where because you're so involved in every kind of part of that hip hop machine, the sort of artist management and the booking agent and the touring. What do you think is of the state of hip hop right now? Like, especially
look,
in this country, what do
it's
you?
definitely changed. I don't want to say it's changed for the better or for the worse, but it's definitely a different animal than it was, say, I don't know. I want to say 5 years ago, and that is the just I'm talking in terms of hip hop in as a scene, like touring concerts. You got companies like Live Nation that have come in and they basically said to an artist, "We're going to give you $100 million, but we now have the exclusive rights to tour in these territories. So here's $100 million, but Europe, Asia, and the Americas are now Live Nation." So, and what that did was that just promoters of my size, the smaller promoters, there was a big, it just had a ripple effect. Like the bigger promoters felt it, but the smaller promoters really felt it. So Live Nation is come in and basically that corporation style, they just, you know what I mean? It has changed the game because when you're dealing with that machine that has unlimited resources, unlimited finances, they just come in and take the best of the talent,
Yeah,
and it's now unattainable. So that has changed a lot. I know that the mid-sized promoters are hanging in there, the
yeah,
mid-sized promoters, and even the larger promoters have had to affiliate themselves in most cases with
yeah,
someone else or just to survive,
yeah,
because to hang on and try and ride out the storm solo, it's too hard a task. So the game has changed so much in terms of touring that I don't know. Look, it's still kind of happening. So we don't know where it's going to end up, but definitely the whole corporation side of it. Um, yeah, they came in with all this money and
it
look,
changed
I don't want to
direction
go
a
too
little
much
bit.
into it, but yeah, it's definitely you can't compete with it. Put it that way. When someone, I mean, what artist is going to say
Yeah,
no to 100 million or 200 million? You know what I mean? This is
uh-huh.
the kind of money they've never been offered before in history. This is a time that's never happened before. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's changed so dramatically. It's all happened in the last 5 to 7 years. I
yeah,
mean, before that, it was pretty much if you were a good promoter, you,
yeah.
you
You've
know what I
got you've
mean?
got the artist, absolutely,
You got the
absolutely.
artist. Now
It's
that's no
just
longer the case because the really, really good artists, the
mm,
ones that that sell the tickets,
mm,
they're pretty much locked away.
yeah. Yeah, it is. It's really it's about that paper and securing the bag as it should be, but it's also sometimes, yeah, you look at the bigger picture and that bigger machine.
Yeah, I
Um,
liken it to how when Steve Jobs did the iPad thing,
yeah,
iPod, you know, it changed the music industry. Or Napster came out and suddenly everyone was down. I, the way that that changed the game, I feel
yeah.
like this corporation thing has changed the game for us as promoters.
As promoters. But what about as a lover of hip hop and again stripping away the titles, you're a man who loves his hip hop and you love your certain artists. I know you're incredible an Ice Cube fan and you love your West Coast hip hop and all of that. But in terms of just the state of hip hop, just from an artist point of view, how do you think Australia is faring right now in on the global stage with
Man,
our hip hop?
we've got some incredible talent here, and
Mm.
it's growing. It's growing because hip hop is kind of mainstream now. Like, you
Yeah.
know, when me and you were coming up, we were called homies. It was a subculture. You know, we couldn't go to the record store and buy our music. There was one record store for us. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Shout out to Soul Sense.
that's
But yeah, I think nowadays because it's on the radio, um, it's on the internet, it's just everywhere that people are starting to write rhymes. Rappers are coming up, really, really talented rappers. The
mm,
lyrics are meaningful. The Australian music industry is starting to take notice of Australian hip hop artists.
yeah,
They're starting to get festival slots. So it's a really exciting time now for Australian hip hop artists. But
absolutely.
yeah, definitely, it's when you see the talent, the scope
Mm,
of what's coming up. I've
yeah.
heard some artists lately, and I'm like, damn, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, really, really.
Absolutely, and I've said this a couple of times like with a few artists that I've spoken to. Obviously, local hip hop artists, and I've gone, you guys are the TTGs
Yeah,
the train to go. Like they come into the radio station, they don't need, oh, here can you just play my little sample? Like they come in going, you found me on Spotify, Apple Music. I just need a little bit of promo, thanks, but I'm ready to go. I'm mixed mastered and we're out the door. And you just look at that and you think, man, like as it should be. I think they're just taking the reins of their careers and running with it however they want to,
definitely.
thanks to the power of social media. But it just
And they're
changes.
taking more control over their careers for the
Yeah,
first time.
yeah,
Instead of relying on that record company system, there's a
yeah,
lot of independent artists. They're keeping their publishing. They're being a lot more smarter than artists in the past.
absolutely.
And I don't know, it's just really cool to see. Like, really, really cool.
Yeah, no, it's dope. It's really dope. Are we just share any thoughts about, sort of what's going on at the moment with Kanye West? Are you following it?
Kanye's found himself in a spot of bother. I mean, there's certain things.
Do you think it's intentional though? Do you think
This last one, I don't think. I mean, he's the world's greatest PR machine. You're constantly talking about his antics. Like that Taylor Swift thing was
yeah.
brilliant. Or when he said, George Bush doesn't care about black people on a national
That's right. At the
stuff
height
like
of
that. But
Katrina.
I
Yeah.
believe that last one, nah, that was. There's no way someone sets out to lose $1 billion. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? There's
Yeah.
no
Yeah. Yeah.
way it was intentional. I think even he was shocked at the backlash he received.
It's really crazy. I mean, sort of going into, like when you look at how quickly things started to derail.
Mm.
But it's selective, this cancel culture, isn't it?
And they were dropping him like a bad habit. Like every day you would hear about another massive brand that dropped him.
It's
And it was like a tsunami. It was like, yeah, it was crazy. The
it's
speed and the ferocity at which they just, but you know what? I have a feeling. Kanye, this is not the end of Kanye West. No way.
no way in hell.
No way.
No way at all. But that's what I'm saying. It's just the whole cancel culture thing is, again, it's so selective because, he was all of these things happen, but yet, you know, Donald Trump is reared his orange head again. You know what I mean? And all the things he's done. And there's no sort of cancel culture, and there's more. It's just interesting. I think the way the media is, again, has had so much to do with the ups and downs of hip hop, right? Sometimes I think we've sort of let the media run too much of that narrative, but then
Yeah.
without it, it's just like a double-edged sword, I think, at the end of the day. And
Yeah.
people sort of run with things
I
and
think I
really,
think Kanye should just stay off Twitter.
I think so.
His life would be a lot easier if you just delete the app, bro. You know, just delete the app.
I know. There's so much happening. You just sort of want to tell him that, but I don't think that this just fuels the fire a lot. It is what it is. But you know what? It's we you and I, like I said, we've got it's like so much history, and it's whenever we chat, it's just like, well, we're all mates that are just catching up and chewing the fat a little bit, if we can say that. But I love watching from the wings the things that you do and that you achieve. And I know you.
I value our friendship very much. I'm really proud of the stuff you've been able to achieve. You know, my friend is an author. You know what I mean? You know how cool that is? Say, my friend writes books. You know what
You
I mean?
always remind me of that, and I remember the day where you took a picture of my first book, How to Live for Love and Hip Hop, because you realized that you were in it.
Yeah, I was in it, man. That was crazy.
I remember you were at some restaurant and you had the book cover and you did the shameless plug for me, and then you read, you were like, oh, and I'm so proud of my friend. I went, wait a minute, I'm in it. It's like, yeah, I did tell you that, but it's okay. It's fine. I know you got a million and one things happening, but yeah, look, I do appreciate that support and yeah, just kind of knowing we have each other's back, man. It's what makes this journey all the more worthwhile.
Well, I
Um,
definitely got your back, 100%.
oh, thank
Now, I
you.
appreciate your support. You know, whenever I'm trying to push an artist or get some PR out there, you always never let me down. Always on point with your interviews.
Thank
You
you.
ask the right questions to the artist. I don't have to be embarrassed or you know what I mean. When it's a Maxine interview, I'm just like,
Thank
okay,
you.
it's gonna be okay.
Do
Because
you have those moments when you have to go on media junkets and things like that, and you go, oh my God, they didn't research, they didn't ask the right
every
questions?
every time a hip hop artist is on TV or a
Oh,
major radio station, it's cringe.
it's terrible, isn't it?
They don't get it. They don't get the culture. Uh, the questions they ask. I'm just
Listen, and I have a lot of people ask me, Sam, they're like, why aren't you, doing it on these outlets and I'm like, you know what, it's not that I don't want to. I mean, that I should be doing it. I should be interviewing people on those outlets, but it's not as easy as people think. I think it's just that's a huge um puzzle to figure out how to be able to get to that point. But I'm working towards it because I get tired of cringing as well whenever you hear
yeah.
the badly put together question or the cringe movements. It's done. It's not, you don't make fun of it. Like you don't make fun of hip hop. You know what I mean?
The
Like,
best example of that is when I saw um, Ice-T was on Rove, and Rose was asking some really kind of
oh,
questions. But I gotta give props to the OG. Ice-T, the way he handles himself in interviews, it's on YouTube, you can find it, but he just turned that interview on its head. And there was a question something like, you wrote the song Cop Killer, but now you play a cop on TV.
oh.
And I'm just like, oh, it's a song, man. Stuff like that. And it's just, yeah. But
How did he handle it? Because Ice-T, to me, I wouldn't want to ask that man the wrong question because he would
no,
just
he said
look
it was
it.
really funny. He basically said, I'm an actor. He goes, you know what I mean? If someone's breaking into my house, I'm gonna call the cops. You know what I mean? He's like, yeah, it's crazy. Like
I
he
remember
handled
I heard, you just remind me of something. I can't remember who it was, and I'm really bad with names now, but there's a writer out here way back in the piece, and I think she got into interview Ice Cube. Like I was like jumping up and down, wishing that it was me, but low-key kind of glad it wasn't when I heard what happened. But apparently the writer got a little bit too cocky and confident, and was on the phone and used his government name, and he checked her. And I laughed when I found out, I heard about it. But it was one of those like, hey, how you doing, O'Shea? What's up? And apparently it was a bit of a deadline.
Yeah.
And he'd sort of come back and went, what did you just call me?
Yeah.
And it was a bit of backtracking. And he was like, this Ice Cube to you in this interview and to everybody that's going to come and see me. I know my mom's calls me that. So please. It was to some effect like that. And I cringed for that individual. And I was like, oh my days. Like, I've never in all of my 20 odd years of, being an interviewer and a writer of this industry and then of this genre, ever let in with the government name. And
Right.
it's just one of those things. And unless they tell you it's cool, I've never ever done it. And I think I may have slipped up once. And it was a fellow writer. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of a writer called Sister Soldier. She's a really, really, prominent African American writer. She's written some incredible books, and she's sort of proletarian type. And I got the interview.
What did you do?
Listen, okay, because her bio gave her name and everything, and then the pseudonym is Sister Soldier. I was in an email and I wrote her full name. I said, dear so and so, it's so lovely to be able to speak with you soon. And she came back at me, you don't call me that, only my family. And but it wasn't a cocky thing. It was more.
That's an easy mistake. You didn't know that you were doing the wrong thing.
Didn't know, but that's why when that O'Shea thing happened, I was like, oh, the pain, but it wasn't Ice Cube. I would never
There was
even
no
myself.
malicious intent. There was no malicious intent on your
There
part.
wasn't. And she came back again after I sort of wrote and gave shame and did some sage around the house to cleanse me of my shame and sins. And she sort of came, she said, that's okay. I just, I need to understand where, because she's very intentional about her space. And I respect her so much, but I never forget that. So I was like, must ask first. So 1,000%. Listen, you and I can talk for 1,000 years, but I think we might just draw it to a close here. But before I say goodbye, what's next for you? Can we talk about the future of Get Busy and what's going on?
Get Busy is next year is probably the biggest year of my life, I reckon. I've got some big things planned. So 2023 will mark 30 years, if you can believe it, of Get Busy Productions. Yeah. It's crazy. 20 years. It's actually crazy. So it's 30 years ago I started as a promoter. So Get Busy Productions was born. Then it's 20 years of international concert touring, because I did my first show was Public Enemy 2003 at the Enmore, completely sold out. And it is also 20 years of managing DJ Tickles. So all these things have, the three momentous occasions falling on the same year. I got some really, really cool stuff planned just to commemorate, 30 years. I look at it as a big achievement.
That's massive, Sam.
I never thought I'd last 3 years, let alone 30. So, and I'm still
Congratulations. So it's the consistency and it's the love and the passion and the purpose.
I just can't see myself doing anything else. I mean, even that whole COVID thing, it was like, you should get another job or find another career. I've been doing this since I was 16. What am I going to do? Work in a bank? I just,
And you'll be in the bank and then your phone will be ringing. You'll be going, just hang on 1 second. I think it's DJ Quick. Just hang on 1 second. And you'll be like out there. They'll be waiting for a loan. You're approved from me, but you might want to check with the next person. No, I think, listen, you are living your dream. You're living your purpose. We're grateful for you and grateful for it. And congratulations, man. Like,
thank you so much.
Just everything from the little to the big. It's a wonder to watch everything that you do and how it's growing. And grateful to be a part of it too. So
Thank you. I think next year's it's less about, me being around for that long. I think it's more the fact that I'm just old, Max. I'm just old. That's all.
Are you old or are you seasoned?
No, I'm old. Let's call it what I'm old.
Listen, I've been using seasoned a lot lately because old, it puts you in a whole other bracket. You're seasoned.
What season? We ain't chicken.
Well, and if we were, it'd be a spicy chicken, well seasoned, right? And everyone would want more. So that's how we leave it because that's what they want. They want more. So, more love, more power, more business and success to you, Sam.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. Always
anytime.
Love speaking to you any day of the week.
Same here. And I know next year we'll talk again with the commemorations of everything. And if you do get to tour some big names, try and maybe see if you can tour Idris Elba. That'd be lovely. I know he might not be your speed. I know he's not hip hop, but for your friend.
Okay.
If you can tour him and get an exclusive interview, it'd be lovely.
We'll see if I can pull some strings on that one for you.
I know you can. You've got the gift of the gab now. Get busy. On that note, get busy. Good luck with DJ Quick, everybody. Tell the people where they can find.
Get your tickets now, metrotheatre.com.au. And if you're really a big fan, hit their meet and greet link and come and chill and hang out with the man.
He's so dope. You want to meet and greet him.
You want to meet Quick. He's the one. You're the one you want to meet.
What's the date?
The 11th of December at the Metro Theatre, George Street, Sydney.
That's not a long way away, people. So, yeah, that's a good
3.5 weeks. 3.5 weeks from now.
That's dope. Very excited. Congratulations. Love you. Talk to you soon.
Love you too. Thank you, Max.
Anytime. Take care.